All right, so today for the first part of our game, we're going to just be walking back and forth, just walk. And as you're walking, then you're going to be asking yourself, what part is leading me forward? What in my body is leading me forward as I walk? And yes, that might be a weird question that you've never thought of, which is kind of the reason we're playing it as a game. I mean, weirdness is what makes it a game. Just look at the way that kids play. Like, in all other games are nothing but weirdness, you know? Like, that's the game in it. It's just like, ask a weird question. Have you ever thought of this before? You know, that kind of stuff. Okay, so can you embrace that? Can you keep asking this weird question with me that you might not have ever asked yourself before? And, you know, honestly, movement specialists, like, ask these things. They're legitimate questions. May not be questions you've asked yourself, but there's information in it. There's definitely information in it about your body and about like very practical things, like where it might be tight and, you know, what your posture might be like. And so there's all of that, right? So you're deepening and getting information about your body and like, oh God, no wonder my hips are always tight, because it's like what I clinch with and like walk with, and it's where all the energy is coming from. But there's also some other stuff, just some fun and learning about yourself and just some like whimsical stuff we can play with too. So we'll get there. But first we're just asking like, what part leads me forward? And it may be an actual physical part that you can see out front, like your chin might be out in front of the rest of your body because it's leading you forward, or your hips might be jutted forward too. They're leading you forward. Or it could just be an energy question, like a sensation of energy, because you don't feel like anything is out front. You're pretty straight when you walk, okay? And it's more just like, I feel the energy being generated from my hips. You know, everything feels like hot energy down there, just like moving and propelling me forward. Cool. Maybe it's, you know, your heart, and you lead with your heart, and you sort of think that it's like the thing that's guiding you forward in your motion. In your motion is what I was saying. I wasn't saying emotion, but it sounded kind of like I said emotion, which is, you know, interesting too, right? Because it could be the thing that drives you forward in your life and in emotion. You know, emotion is what's driving you forward. Okay, absolutely. Like, this is where the metaphors and the whimsical stuff gets in. But yeah, first we're just asking ourselves, what is moving me forward? Where do I feel that energy? And once you find a few things, I mean, it could be your shoulders, like maybe they're bent down, and you know, maybe you're just like really lost and you don't know. And that's when I said you start to look at like what parts are actually kind of slightly tilted forward. Maybe those things are leading. But hang in there and really try to figure out something. Maybe people like, it's got to be my legs, because my legs are the things that are doing the work. Yeah, that could be the obvious answer too. Yeah, it could be there. And find some things. And then once you find those things, yeah, try on some other questions for size. Like, okay, well, are those parts of you tight? Overworked, you know, any of those things. And then let's get into the metaphor. I mean, it's like a long-standing, like sort of historical, ancient wisdom thing to associate parts of the body with other things in life. I mean, sure, in like Chinese medicine and reflexology and some Ayurveda and stuff, they're, you know, parts of the body are associated with aspects, you know, feminine, masculine, and even we have like sayings like the weight of the world on my shoulders, you know. And so play with some metaphors, make up your own. You don't have to know which ones are which. But yeah, if it's like I lead with my chin, does that mean that I lead with my head or thinking, or that I'm, you know, sort of pulling myself forward with my thoughts? Or, you know, what else would your chin be? Maybe it's your mouth or talking, or, you know, it's like I always lead with my words. Like I speak first and then act later, or something like that. Could be. Like what I say I'm going to do is what gets me going forward. Or if you lead with your heart, again, like we said, it could be emotions. If you lead with your hips and the energy is really coming from this deep place, then maybe that's what moves you forward. Just this like deep primitive you. Maybe the like I have to, or just the like, you know, inner sense of being a human is, you know, what moves you forward. You just kind of like move through life, no questions asked, because it's kind of just like deep place. or if it's like your knees and your leg muscles that are moving you forward. Maybe it's just like stamina. Stamina is what moves you forward, and it's like pure will or something that's moving you forward. Or your shoulders. Maybe your shoulders are moving you forward. Is it your responsibilities and the things that are on your back or on your shoulders that are sort of moving you forward? But there's just a lot of questions to ask and play with and get creative. Enjoy that creativity. And maybe you think it is just wacky what we're doing right now, and you just like to toss all this out. Like, all right, cool. If nothing seems to match, toss it out. But don't toss anything before you just like tried. It's just a game. It's just like, does anything fit? And if nothing fits, like toss it. Or if you don't like it, toss it. But I do think that the game is worthwhile. It's totally playful just to kind of be like, all right, so what does that mean? You know, what does that could be a metaphor for, you know, if I'm leading forward with my stomach, you know, and like my abdomen, is that like, you know, sort of the comfort part of me, the soft part of me, like your soft underbelly? Or maybe it's just like, you know, like very literal, like, you know, what gets me going every day is like what I'm going to eat, you know, or something like that. Or, it has to do with assimilation of, you know, like your digestive tract is what assimilates like nutrients. Like that's what leads you forward, like nutrients in your life and assimilating new information and knowledge or whatever. And maybe that's your head leading you forward, but it could be like your, you know, stomach too. You could just be kind of exploring and making stuff up, which is also fair game. You could totally just like, well, I lead with my stomach, but what could that mean? Like find a way to make it fit with you. And then you're actually deepening your understanding of you as you go, and you're noticing your body and its habits as well. And it's totally just about asking yourself questions and focusing a little bit more on yourself, giving yourself some attention so that the connection is deepened, and, you know, more connection with your body too, because our body tells us a lot about us. It's like this outer reflection of the inner us, and that gets said all the time, but nobody really looks into the ways, not nobody, plenty of people do, but we often don't really look into the ways in which that is true. And is this way that you walk reflecting anything about the inner you? That's all we're asking. See what you find.